welcome back. It's time for some more high-level speaking part 3 answers. Remember guys, I'm going to give you a high-level answer and it's your job to listen to what I say and try to find things that you like and you would like to steal. This should be vocabulary, this should be grammatical structures that you like, and also how I'm structuring my answers. Remember, this may be different from how you would normally do it in your native language. In English, we always directly answer the question first and then give our supporting details. Let's jump into a high-level speaking part 3 question and answer session.
Let's now turn to the influence of media.
Okay.
How can people be influenced by the media?
Very easily. I think we see this a lot right now. You know, it's been exacerbated, yes. So it's been exacerbated by social media, of course, but traditional media has been doing this for ages as well. People are choosing the media that is in line with their beliefs. And that's what they're choosing to watch and read. And then in response, it's kind of like a feedback loop where the media puts more things that are in line with what they want to read. And that's causing us a divide. You can especially see this where I'm from in America, where both the Republicans and the Democrats see the other side as idiots or incompetent or corrupt. And like, this is all because of where people are consuming their media. Their websites, the newspapers or the books that they're reading or the videos that they're watching are all incentivized to have sensationalized news that makes the other side look like the enemy because that's what people respond to. And then of course, as people listen to that, they believe it, and then it's just this vicious cycle. It's led to a very polarized society, and it's very sad. I wish there was some way to stop it.
Some people say that the media is too influential. What do you think?
Okay, so when people say this, most of the time what they're thinking about is some evil tycoon, newspaper tycoon, or cable company network tycoon who's like twiddling his evil mustache and playing with his millions and millions of dollars, and he's like, oh, today I will make the sheep of this country believe this. And that's not how it is. Like, there may be some people like that, which is terrible, but most of the time, the reason why media is so influential is just because of, as I previously explained, this feedback loop. Like the incentive systems, the structure of our society has resulted in it being too influential. People believe the media, and the media is often just sensational. So people believe the sensationalized things that are happening around the world today. It's really sad. It's too influential for sure. People need to start engaging with each other to break that cycle. They need to start having empathy and compassion for the other side. But that's not going to happen because of the news that they read.
Can individuals alone combat this, or is there some need of government intervention?
That's a tricky question. Because obviously it would be a lot easier if the government was able to make laws or regulation that made it so that all companies that delivered the news had to have both sides side by side, so people would come to their own opinions, or to make laws against the sensationalization of the news. But that said, if any government tried to make those movements, it would be seen as a huge violation of freedom of speech. And many people would be against the government having that much power over what they consume. So it would be nice to be able to use it as a tool to fix this problem, but I don't see it as possible. So all that's left is for individuals to try to fix it. But as we know, individuals often don't have too much power on their own. They have to work with others to really reach their goals. And again, the incentives in our society are not in place to make that happen.
Has the government ever created or changed policy due to the pressure from the media?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like, in the 20s, this is a great example. It's continued to present day, but in the 20s, there was a movement called the muckraker movement. And there were industries all throughout America that were extremely corrupt. They were doing very unethical things. This could be from meat packing plants putting things that are not meat into the meat, or for example, how immigrants were treated on their way over. And you know, there were reporters who would go out and they would find these stories and they would share it through newspapers at the time. And this led to such an outcry in the public that governments had to change things. They had to make regulation, even if the government officials, if the politicians were getting their palms greased by these industry tycoons, they couldn't ignore the public. We're a democracy. We have a lot of power here. If it was monarchy or some dictatorship, it is less likely to happen, but it can still happen. Yes.
Do you think that whistleblowers like this are as effective nowadays?
You know, it's funny you say that because we look at some, like the guy in charge of WikiLeaks or Snowden, and they were forced to flee the country and live miserable lives in confined places because they were chased by their governments. I think there needs to be more protections for these whistleblowers. I think it's harder for them today because it's harder to get away with it because the people in power have just become more and more powerful over the decades.
Thank you. That's the end of the speaking test.
I'm not a conspiracy nut, I promise. All right, guys, like I said at the beginning, this was very high level. I don't expect you to have exactly the same quality or level of answer that I did. However, I hope you guys found things that you find useful in there. You guys can do this. Don't give up hope. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.